Hey everyone, welcome to the show. I have a bunch of updates to share about Donald Trump's coup clown. So first up, Mr. My Lumpy Pillow Man. He got slapped down by the U.S. Supreme Court. Mike Lindell, you might know this, he's been fighting the FBI in court. He's been trying to get his cell phone back. You might remember he was sitting at a drive-through at a Hardee's. This was back in 2022. Agents approached him. They had a warrant. They seized his device. Well, that seizure was related to the case involving Colorado County Clerk Tina Peters. And that's about her and her alleged illegal breach of voting equipment after the 2020 election. Well, lower courts ruled against Lindell, so he took this case to the Supreme Court. And this was his second attempt to get the Supreme Court to intervene, and they refused again. They would not even hear the case. They just kicked it to the curb. They're like, no, go away. So, oh well. And then Lindell got some more bad news this week because Smartmatic voting software company filed a request with the court to try to get Lindell to pay their almost $550,000 fees of legal fees. That's actually a reduced amount from what they said he actually owes. But they told the judge this is, a fraction of what he should have to pay to cover the legal fees they incurred because he filed a RICO lawsuit against them and Dominion Voting Systems. You might remember that. Lindell filed that lawsuit in response to their defamation lawsuit, the Smartmatic lawsuit that was filed against him. Well, the judge dismissed Lindell's suit and ruled, quote, "The court agrees with Smartmatic that Lindell has asserted at least some groundless claims. In particular, the court concludes that at the very least, Lindell's claim against Smartmatic under the support or advocacy clause falls on the frivolous side of the line. Other claims do too. As a result, the court orders Lindell and his previous counsel to pay some of the fees and costs Smartmatic has incurred defending itself and moving for sanctions under Rule 11. So that was almost 2 years ago that the judge made that ruling, but he still hasn't decided on the amount. I don't know why, so I will let you know when he makes a determination. But poor Lindell, you gotta feel for Mr. Back on Crack. I mean, I don't know that for a fact. I'm just saying it seems like he's maybe back on crack, but at least he has a lot of pillows to cry on, right? Next is news about America's defendant, Rudy Giuliani. He tried and failed to get the judge to overturn the jury's $148 million verdict in the defamation case brought by Georgia election workers Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss. In her ruling, U.S. District Judge Beryl Howe referred to Giuliani's arguments as, quote, threadbare. And Giuliani may also be required to hand over a large portion of his legal defense fund that he's generated. There's a group of people who say they were defrauded by one of his donors, and so that money actually belongs to them. There's a class action lawsuit that was brought against a man named Matthew Martirano. I think that's how you pronounce it. He allegedly defrauded customers. He has some sort of skincare products. These people signed up for a free sample, and then they say that they were billed repeatedly, even though they never agreed to be billed in the future. So Martirano donated $100,000 to Giuliani's legal defense fund. And his alleged victims say that money should come to us. He has no right to give that money away to anyone else. Now, Giuliani's spokesperson said, well, we have nothing to do with this. This case has nothing to do with us. But, we'll see how it all shakes out if the court orders them to hand it over. I will definitely let you know about that one. I also have news about coup attorney John Eastman. NBC9 News is reporting that Eastman might be removed from 2 cases because of his recent disbarment judgment.
John Eastman's facing disbarment in California for drawing up the plan to overturn the 2020 election. He cannot currently practice law while he appeals a judge's recommendation to disbar him in California. He faces 11 disciplinary charges tied to his role in trying to overturn President Trump's loss in 2020. Federal judge is now requiring Eastman to prove why he should not be taken off those two cases in Colorado.
So we'll see what happens with that. I will keep you guys posted on that as well. In the meantime, Eastman recently went whining and crying to the Daily Caller news outlet. He said that 2 of his bank accounts were closed in the past several months, and it's seemingly as a result of his shady work for Trump. So according to Eastman, Bank of America notified him, this was in September of 2023, they said, we're going to close your account. So he moved most of his money, he said, over to USAA. Now that is a company, you may have seen the commercials, they work with veterans. Eastman was not in the military, but he qualified for accounts with them because apparently his father-in-law served in both the Navy and the Marines. Well, in November of 2023, USAA also cut ties with him. They also sent him a Dear John letter. Now, what's funny is Eastman and the Daily Caller are clutching their pearls, they're boo-hoo-hooing over him being, quote unquote, debanked. And they're saying, oh, this is all political. So apparently, when a business refuses to provide services to someone based on religious beliefs, that is totally justified in their mind. They're totally cool with that. But when a business doesn't want to provide services to someone who's been indicted on felonies, by the way, someone who's been named as an unindicted co-conspirator, someone who's accused of instigating a coup against the United States, someone who's in the process of being disbarred for ethical violations, that is unacceptable in their minds. Evidently, that's a bridge too far. And then speaking of unethical Trump attorneys, Sidney Kraken Powell was also recently shot down by the Supreme Court. So Powell, you guys may recall, she was hit with sanctions because she and other attorneys filed a Michigan election lawsuit, and the judge found it to be frivolous. What a shock. Well, actually, what the judge said is that the claims that Powell had made in this lawsuit were based on, quote, nothing but speculation and conjecture. So she slapped Powell and the other attorneys with a $175,000 penalty. So Powell has been fighting it for a while, and she took the matter all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. Like Lindell, they had already refused to take up the case. So that was in February of this year. Well, in March, Powell and the others filed a new petition, and then they're arguing now that the Supreme Court violated due process by refusing to hear the case. Once again, they were like, no, we don't care. Go away. We don't want to hear it. So maybe Miss Kraken lady, maybe she can borrow a pillow from Mr. Lindell. They can all have a good cry together. All right, I will let you know when I hear more. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please like this video, share it, become a subscriber if you have not, donate if you possibly can. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.